The cold wind howled across the empty road that evening, sweeping through the desolate outskirts of a small town. The world seemed to move fast, cars zooming past, lights flickering in the distance. But for one young woman lying by the roadside, time had stopped. Her clothes were torn, her face pale, and her trembling hands clutched her swollen belly. She was 8 months pregnant, scared, hungry, and abandoned. Her name was Maria, and just a few hours ago she had believed that life, no matter how hard, still held a bit of hope. But when her husband, the man she had once trusted with her entire heart, threw her out of the car and left her to die in the middle of nowhere, that hope began to fade with the setting sun. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of good hearts to change lives, then please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel. Stories like this remind us that humanity still shines brightest in the darkest moments. Maria's life had never been easy. Born to a poor family, she learned the meaning of struggle at a young age. When she met Paul, a charming man who promised her love and stability, she thought her suffering had finally come to an end. For a while, things seemed fine. But soon after their marriage, Paul's charm turned to cruelty. He drank heavily, gambled, and lashed out when things didn't go his way. When Maria became pregnant, instead of joy, he showed resentment. He didn't want the responsibility, didn't want the burden. And one fateful night, after a heated argument, he pushed her into his car, drove miles away from town, and threw her out near an old service road that barely saw a passerby. Maria screamed after him, begged him not to leave her there, but the roar of his engine drowned out her voice as he disappeared into the darkness. The silence that followed was deafening. Cold air bit into her skin, and pain rippled through her stomach. Every kick from her unborn child reminded her she wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for the tiny life inside her. Hours passed. The stars blurred as tears filled her eyes. She tried to walk, but her legs gave out. She collapsed near a ditch, whispering prayers she wasn't sure anyone could hear. Her body shook, her breaths grew shallow, and her mind drifted between panic and exhaustion. Just when she thought she couldn't take another breath, she heard a faint rumble in the distance. It started as a low hum but grew louder, deeper, like a storm of thunder rolling closer. Through her blurred vision, she saw headlights, many of them. One after another, motorcycles pulled up, their engines roaring and headlights cutting through the night. They were bikers, dozens of them, wearing leather jackets, tattoos and patches. At first, fear struck her heart. But when one of them ran toward her, kneeling beside her, she saw something she hadn't seen in a long time: compassion. The man's name was Jack, the leader of a local biker club called the Iron Brothers. He noticed Maria's condition instantly and shouted to his crew to bring water and blankets. "Hang on, sweetheart," he said gently, brushing her hair from her face. "You're safe now. We got you." The bikers moved fast. One gave his jacket to cover her, another dialed emergency services, and 2 others blocked the road to stop any cars from passing too close. They weren't just tough men on bikes. They were protectors, fathers, brothers, and sons. They had seen hardship too, and in that moment, every single one of them felt the same thing: no woman should ever be left to die like this. By the time the ambulance arrived, Maria was drifting in and out of consciousness. Jack climbed into the back with her, refusing to leave her side. "You're going to be fine," he whispered. "We'll take care of you." When Maria woke up hours later, she was in a hospital bed. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of medical equipment. Her body was weak, but she was alive, and so was her baby. As her eyes adjusted to the light, she saw something unexpected. A group of bikers standing around her bed, their rough faces softened with concern. Flowers sat on the table beside her, and someone had even brought a little teddy bear. Jack smiled at her. "Told you we'd take care of you." Over the next few days, the bikers became her family. They took turns visiting her, bringing food, clean clothes, and helping her talk to the doctors. When the hospital bills started piling up, they passed around a hat at their next club meet. Within 24 hours, every member contributed something, from savings to tips they'd earned from odd jobs. They raised enough not only to pay her bills, but to set her up in a small apartment near town. But Jack wasn't done. He found out about her abusive husband, and though he couldn't change the past, he made sure Paul would never hurt her again. Without threats or violence, Jack used connections to report Paul's actions to the authorities. Justice came swiftly, and this time Maria didn't have to face it alone. Weeks turned into months. The bikers continued to check on her. They repaired furniture, painted her walls, and made sure she had everything she needed for the baby. When she went into labor, it wasn't Paul she called, it was Jack. And when the doctor announced it was a baby girl, Jack and the entire biker crew were right there in the waiting room, cheering, laughing, and crying like proud uncles. Maria named her daughter Hope, because that's what those 100 bikers had given her. The thing she thought she had lost forever. Her recovery wasn't easy. There were nights when memories haunted her, flashes of abandonment, fear, and loneliness. But she always remembered the night she was found, the roar of the engines, and the hands that reached out when no one else would. The bikers became her extended family. On weekends, she'd visit their clubhouse with baby Hope, and the tough men who once seemed intimidating would take turns holding the little girl, playing peekaboo and feeding her milk bottles. Jack, especially, grew close to her. He was a man who had once lost everything, his wife, his child, and had drowned his pain in the roar of his Harley. But helping Maria gave him something back, a sense of purpose. Slowly, an unspoken bond formed between them. It wasn't romantic at first, it was something deeper, a connection between two souls who had both known pain and had found healing through kindness. One day, a reporter heard about Maria's story and came to interview her and the bikers. The video went viral within days. Millions watched as Maria tearfully recounted how she was saved and how a group of leather-clad bikers had shown her more love than she had ever known. Comments flooded in from around the world. People expressing admiration, donating money, offering help. The biker club didn't seek fame, but their actions inspired countless others. They started a community initiative called Ride for Hope, helping women in crisis situations, offering shelter, transport, and protection to those in danger. Within months, their movement spread to neighboring towns, and soon hundreds of bikers across the country joined the cause. As Hope grew, she became the symbol of that movement, the little girl whose life began the day compassion found her mother. Every year, on the anniversary of her rescue, the bikers organized a massive charity ride. Thousands of engines would roar across highways, raising awareness for domestic abuse survivors and showing the world that kindness can come from the most unexpected places. Years later, when Hope turned 6, she stood on a small stage at one of those charity events, holding Jack's hand. Her voice trembled as she spoke into the microphone. "My mummy told me that bikers saved my life before I was even born. Thank you for being my heroes." The crowd erupted in applause, and many wiped away tears. Maria stood nearby, her eyes glistening. She looked at the sea of bikers, those rugged faces now softened with emotion, and felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: peace. She realized that sometimes family isn't about blood. It's about the people who show up when everyone else walks away. The story of Maria and the bikers became a living testament that hope can rise even from the darkest corners, that even when the world turns its back on you, there are hearts still brave enough to care. So if this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs to believe in goodness again, and subscribe to our channel. Every engagement helps us bring you more true stories of courage, compassion, and humanity. And before you go, comment below, what does kindness mean to you? Because sometimes a single act of kindness can save not just one life, but generations to come. As the sun set over the open highway, 100 motorcycles roared into the golden light, their engines echoing with power and purpose. Maria watched them from her porch, baby hope in her arms, smiling through tears. She whispered softly, "Thank you, my angels on wheels." And somewhere deep inside, the world felt a little brighter, a little kinder, because 100 strangers decided that no woman would ever be left behind again.